I have so many memories of Conway. Conway is one of the greatest singers I ever heard.
Loretta Lynn was never one to hold her tongue. From coal miner's daughter to country royalty, she told it like it was, on stage, off stage, of country kings and queens, she said. In the same way it was on stage, and most of all when someone touched her the wrong way, she sang about men who cheat. Long story of wicked women and harsh truths before they were brave enough to follow. She didn't care about being her lead. She was a lady and cared about being honest. Not only were Loretta's songs catchy, were confessions straight from the heart and often controversial, she talked about birth control, violence in the home, and class shame when other people didn't say anything, and that her lack of fear made her enemies just as quickly as it made her fans. But behind that a fierce voice and a fiery spirit lived a Loretta forgot about it like a steel trap and forgave a lot, but never forget. And as she turned 90, filled with an unmatched legacy, she finally told them the names she'd been keeping secret. Kept artists from the public for decades, crossed her, pushed her, or just never did anything to earn her respect. No one thought she'd share the list, and it starts with the woman who threatening her crown, Princess Tammy Wynette, the rival queen. They were the Golden Girls, had two voices that made a era, but under the gowns and wigs and smiles on TV was a competition. It was cooler than a Tennessee winter. Tammy. When Wynette sang her poised ballads, and Sad and Beautiful was every record label's sweetheart, but Loretta knew it was a lie. Thought Tammy's fame came from her looks. Not grit. To Loretta, Tammy played into what the business world thinks a woman should be. Star should be weak and shiny. Loretta, who has always been quiet, she had gotten past butcher. Holler with only a broken lip. She had a guitar and a lot of backbone. Didn't just sing about pain, she felt it. That difference made them fight with each other. Those things that never quite healed. Loretta, I was once told I didn't need a man to. I told him to move, so stand by me. Without a doubt a jab, and many people thought it was aimed right at Tammy's biggest hit, Stand By Your Man. About when that will happen. Quote, wasn't a mistake. Behind the scenes the producers worked hard to pair them up. Joined forces for a duet album. Picture the publicity, sales, and the news, but every time it was, Loretta turned it off. He said it was like oil and water. We might sell records, but, said her manager, we'd never make it through rehearsals. Fans didn't know that they were fighting. Brought to the surface for years with tense run-ins to award shows, rude radio interviews, and shifting blame. Lots of compliments were thrown at her during the business world tried to pit press junkets. They never sang duets with each other. And the real reason why, Loretta told a close friend, she's cute. It looked warm on camera, but it was really cold backstage. Then there was a shared dressing room moment in 1974 that made things tense straight into anger toward Conway Twitty, the man who took a lot of people loved them together. Two songs such as Louisiana Woman, Mississippi Man made them sassy, making them the dream duo of the country. Flirtatious and dripping with love, but away from the camera, the dream was dangerous. Full of hurt feelings and growing, Conway Twitty was smooth with no grudges. Well-groomed and very driven. Every time Loretta saw something, the news said they won an award. After he won, people called him a genius. Music star, and she was praised for being Loretta, his ideal match, had written her own hits, got through storms, and changed country music with her raw voice. Being honest, couldn't help but feel, they always put the man was missed. She once snapped, even when he's following you. Their link was without a doubt. There are rumors of an emotional affair started going around in Nashville. They laughed it off. But Loretta's wife Doolittle didn't, he reportedly say. Wouldn't go to concerts where Conway was there, but nothing was ever. It was proven that fans heard the keeping eye contact and holding hands that went on for too long, but with a flash, admiration turned to tension as their fame went through the roof. Conway started making their sound glossier and more. The edge is softer because of commercial territory. Lorraine had made a name for herself by Fought Back because he thought the songs were nice, she said, but I wanted them real. That fight for sight put a strain on their behind the scenes, a creative partnership. Conway said that things got worse. Started showing up to rehearsals late. Making changes to set lists without telling Loretta and agreeing to interviews solo when it was supposed to be the other person to be shared. The real weak spot came on tour in 1979 just before during a show in Atlanta. Conway said something to a young reporter that she still got it. The words weren't hard for her age. They were mean, but they hit hard. Loretta heard it, but it didn't say anything. When her turn came, she stayed the night. The band played behind the curtain. The crowd cheered again, and Conway stood there. Olivia Newton was waiting on stage by herself. John, the pop star who came in the mid-1970s, Loretta Lynn sang country music. Shocked as they saw a fresh face, the award went to an Australian pop singer. Woman Vocalist of the Year CMA Award. Most of the year, it was a sign of country music is spreading its wings, but to Loretta, it was a slap in the face. Newton-John was beautiful and quiet. Her voice was so smooth and clear that it was smooth. Her look perfect, and Loretta thought it sounded good. It was not at all country Nashville, but turned on the red carpet. Radio stations played Olivia Award over and over again. Magazine covers that are full of praise called her the future of the country. Loretta tense up at every word. To Loretta, country music began in the dirt that was pushed into being by women who they sang with sore throats and grit in their teeth. Olivia in their bones, and in Loretta's eyes I skipped the part where I paid my dues. She once said, I worked in cold dust. She worked in lighting under her breath. Gels. The sour taste wasn't just about the music, was about what Olivia showed. The shift in the industry toward business polish is a move away from the truth. Twang saw her favorite type of music becoming a product that is sold in packages and sold to people who didn't get it where it came from. Because Loretta refused to attend a certain CMA when they found out Olivia would be, when she was asked again why, she said she was behind because of a conflict in her schedule. She is said to have told her behind closed doors manager, I'm not clapping for no pop, a star as a cowboy. And when Olivia said in a bubbly interview that she was ready to help bring the country into the, Loretta didn't hold back when she said, she told no one, we don't need help. Need respect. It wasn't because they were jealous, it had to do with how real Loretta was. Fought for years to be heard in a business world that wanted her to be quiet. Now they gave crowns to newcomers who hadn't been through the struggle, but even that, this betrayal wasn't as bad as the last one. One, because the artist hurt her the most wasn't a stranger, she was related to me and blood, and she would leave Loretta hurt more than any award snub ever could make. Gail, the sister I didn't trust, long hair that leans toward pop. Crystal Gayle was a crossover hit. Everything that Loretta wasn't, and that got worse, and neither of them could fix it. Outrun, even though they are sisters, it was never a picture-perfect relationship. Loretta had cut her way through a male-dominated industry, had to deal with doubters, and sang her truth without. Crystal, on the other hand, needs to give in. It looked like it would slide right into fame, her voice smooth, her look refined, her appeal, and was ready for a crossover, while Loretta had fringe and boots on. Was all dresses and shine when Crystal scored a huge hit with Don't It Make My Brown Eyes Blue, the business. She was called the new face of country. Woman Loretta, watching from the sidelines, couldn't hide how she felt. I've always had it easy, she told a friend. She didn't have to go through, there had always been mud first. There was tension between the two, small jabs, icy comparisons in the quiet away from family events, but things grew worse when Crystal refused to a tribute with a lot of famous people. Her team said it was Loretta's 60th birthday, but Loretta didn't have any schedule problems. She could feel the absence like a knife to the heart. More than any other, a country star came to honor her. Still, Loretta didn't say anything. In her mind, pride came before pain, but the moment that broke the silence when they did a joint TV interview a few after many years, the interviewer asked Clara what Loretta did for her career. She took a moment to smile and answer. She was influential. One word, one dry, faraway word, no stories, no feeling, no thanks. Loretta kept her look calm, but after that she never agreed to play together again. She never brought it up again, but she also, I never forgot that kind of a quiet anger that builds up slowly and settles down deep, would roar back when she used to believe a story about an outlaw. Merle, you went too far. Haggard, his drinking partner who also went at first, they were on the same side. Loretta Merle and I were both grit poor. Growing up with rough voices and rougher both edges were rough from life and with only their music to soften them off, valued each other and shared a festival stages and even toasted to making it through the hellish grind of the business world. In many Merle was one of the few men who artists Loretta felt like they really understood, but Merle had a way of making her feel bad. Feathers, especially the ones he liked, he was unpredictable, rude, and the Loretta once was blatantly stubborn. If he wasn't drunk he was high. If he wasn't already, I am writing a song about being drunk. Everyone laughed, even Merle, but when things were being filmed during a live in the early 1980s, Merle gave a radio interview. Flipped the script, smirked, and said, "Loretta has been making fun of poor girls. If you wait too long, we'll get it cold and dusty. Babies, what else do you have?" It cut deep. People in the crowd laughed nervously, but Loretta didn't smile behind closed doors. As things got worse, Loretta reached out. With a rough idea for a duet and a way out of addiction and faith for her, it wasn't just another radio hit. It was personal, and Merle brushed it off. Not what it seemed like when you called it church lady stuff. Just a difference in style. It was a slap in the face to Loretta. Songs were about from where she wrote, survival, not spectacle. Scars. Merle was more of a woman than a confessor in her eyes. She later told her band, he sings songs of pain, but he laughs at mine. It hurt her to deal with that contradiction. It wasn't enough that he said no, it was that he didn't even try to understand, ignored her story for what it was. She told lies like the truth didn't matter, and that laugh was his mocking, casual laugh rang in her head for years until a new what kind of threat showed up, younger, more shiny, and to Loretta a lot more. McIntyre is the new star and a dangerous Reba, who didn't do her part in the 1980s. Country music changed, and it got brighter. The days of flashier and louder were over. Now with raw recordings and ballads from the backwoods, it was arena tours, planned out performances, and finished works of art. That wave wasn't ridden by any star faster or harder. Reba had a better voice than Reba McIntyre, the marketing team's charm, and it was impossible for Nashville to stay away from her. Loretta Reba wasn't just the new kid, she was the kid. She was the first person on the block. Loretta, she came in like a storm at the end. I told a friend, but you have to walk. The first thing Loretta did was pay in the rain. Her dues on every dusty stage and every shady promoter, spent every night away from her kids. Reba, on the other hand, felt like a carefully chosen product. Studio managed a face for the new era of the country, but the real anger started when a Glossier music magazine called Reba, the title was, Queen of the Country. It was only a few months after Loretta had said she was putting out a new album. She wasn't even retired yet, but she was being changed. Then came the time that sealed the deal. At a TV awards show, Reba got up on stage and sang one of Loretta's old favorites, see note for note, Smile After Smile, but there was none. Introduction didn't say anything about the Loretta, the woman who made that song famous. Crossed their arms in the front row backstage. People who weren't moved told her face didn't change at all, but the final betrayal took place out of the spotlight behind the scenes. After the performance, Reba is said to have brushed straight past Loretta, didn't look at her, not even a thank you for shaking hands. From that point on, Loretta refused to say something about Reba in public, not praise, nothing but silence, please, and for someone who speaks out like Loretta, that the silence said a lot. But even with all the anger and hurt from competitors and rising stars, one wound stayed open longer than the others, because the person who hurt her the most wasn't a fan. Was a ghost that never was a friend or a teacher. Johnny Cash had really given up the ghost, that he was the bad guy that she couldn't forget. Looked up to the rebel who got her. Johnny Cash wasn't just another pain singer. She thought he was a country star. Like you, they came from nothing. Both had scars that looked like armor. Wouldn't be tamed by Nashville's polished rules they'd talked about a lot. Dress rooms were where stages swapped stories and gave each other peace support during the hardest of times. Years, but even the deepest respect can unfold in a single second. It was in the late 1970s Loretta had been asked to make an appearance on a TV gospel show, Johnny's Party. She was thrilled. Truly respected gospel music was her foundation, and to share that bass being with Cash felt like coming full circle. The girl flew in early, practiced quietly, and then stayed humble. Just 2 days before she got the call she'd been hearing about cut with no reason given, just a change in format. Lost, embarrassed, and the sad Loretta checked out of and watched the show at the studio hotel, the space that had once been gone to a younger, less artists who caused a lot of trouble since after a few weeks, she found out the truth. Talk from a producer on set confirmed that the choice had been made by Johnny himself. He was said to have told the network she spoke out too much for too political and angry on a gospel show. Loretta, it felt like betrayal to you too. Wrapped in silence, she never spoke up. He never called or wrote, but she did. The pain was deep and real. He knew who I was, she told a close friend. He knew I wasn't lying, but he still shut up. After many years, Johnny sent her the apology was written by hand and was sincerely sorry, but Loretta never. She replied that she had folded the letter and put it in a cedar box in her. It was in Tennessee for a long time. Decades. In 2015, during a rare show, people asked her about Johnny Cash. Before looking down for a long time that some ghosts don't rest easy. And the night before her last tour, Loretta leaned in close to a longtime friend and said something in a whisper, weird, a secret message. Johnny once left her a line that kept coming back to her since then. She hasn't said it again. Loud, not even when the fire. That Loretta Lynn never went out and never backed up, not because they are poor or in pain, and not from a fight she might have. She loved many people in her life, but the person who hurt her would always be in her mind. Like lines in a sad ballad. Now, with the world remembering what she did, the truth comes out about more than just her victory, but about the betrayals that set them up. In which of these rivalries what shocked you the most?